Hi everybody, so a couple of days ago, Bohemia Interactive, the developer behind Arma Reforger and DayZ and the Arma franchise, released a roadmap for Arma Reforger. And I think this is an important document because it really shows people who are playing Arma Reforger now, or if you're thinking about getting into Arma Reforger, or even if you stop playing Arma Reforger because you weren't happy with the features that it has. This really shows you where the game is going and how that game is taking us towards Arma 4, because Arma Reforger really is that trial, if you like. It really is this test bed for the new Enfusion engine, where we can actually really help Bohemia Interactive on their path towards Arma 4 by basically play testing for the next few years. I know it's a bit odd because you do have to pay for Arma Reforger, and that's something I probably disagree with. It should have been a free game. But anyway, let's read through it and see where we will be going. As you know, Arma Reforger is a foundation for Arma 4, the beginning of a multi-year journey. The beginnings of all such complex projects are extremely difficult, and it might be frustrating for some time before they become solid and robust enough to support future features. We want to make Arma Reforger a platform that you enjoy creating content for, a tool that's fun to use, and a game that you simply love to play. We assure you that we are working hard, continuously improving, fixing, and even refactoring critical features. Our team is making the game and tools better and better every day. Besides the upcoming major 0.96 update, which we aim to release later this year, we're excited to announce we're making progress on our significant milestone update, ground support for Quarter 4 2022. In this update, you can look forward to significantly reduced multiplayer issues and several new features, a new gameplay mode, and many new assets, not to mention a new 4x4 kilometre terrain island. While we work towards releasing this large set of new content, we also decided to share our roadmap for the future of Arma Reforger development with you. Below you will find detailed information on some of the main upcoming assets and features that await you in the future. Development of a game of this complexity is a long and ongoing process. The Arma community is one of the strongest there is, and so we would like to personally thank you for your patience and support through this process. With the release of the game's 1.0 update next year, the support of Arma Reforger definitely doesn't end there, and it won't end until the release of Arma 4, but that's a story for the future. Let's fix what we have now first. Lastly, as mentioned in the latest dev report, we're planning to transition from weekly to bi-weekly game updates. This will ensure that every version of Arma Reforger is being thoroughly tested as we focus on fixing and bettering your experience. This will also be done in conjunction with our plans to release a release candidate build, available for you to try before updating the main game branch, but more details on that later. Inevitably, such a complex task requires a lot of time and effort. To ensure the best results, we decide to release updates every other week. Thank you again, and stay tuned as we continue on the road to Arma 4. Jan Dusek, project lead. Interesting, they're going to have a development branch, a release candidate for Arma Reforger, and I kind of think that Arma Reforger is a bit of a release candidate in and of itself. But yeah, I kind of think that Bohemia Interactive slightly kind of mishandled the release of Arma Reforger, especially on console. Because no matter even if you tell people, look, this is a game preview, you know, this is a beta, we were expecting it to perform a lot better than it did, especially in terms of network capabilities and being able to play in multiplayer games with lots of other players. That's what we were kind of looking for. We were looking kind of, I guess, for the minimum of kind of what Battlefield used to be able to do, so 32 versus 32. And on console, where we didn't have that, when we just had 16 player servers after a while, that was disappointing. And the fact that they charged for it as well. Now, I know they only charged like £25, I think it was $30, wasn't it, for Arma Reforger? But I still think it should have been free. You know, it should have been free, and it should have been, look guys, this is our test project. This is just a sandbox for you to play around with, and for us to really test the mechanics that are going to be going into Arma 4. But anyway, there we go. So Arma Reforger roadmap. This is where it gets very, very exciting. In each of these 3 milestones, you'll notice 2 sections: features and assets. Both will guide you through the details planned for release in the corresponding milestone. The features consist of new mechanics for the gameplay, such as enabling players to take on a HQ role or the ability to give basic commands to groups of AI units. Assets relate to new content for the game. weapons, vehicles, props and more. Milestone updates will be specified with each released update. Reforger will be supported after 1.0. There you go. So, first milestone, ground support. Here we go. So what do we get? So we're going to get this new map, Ireland 4x4 summer. It's going to be a Baltic island. Excellent, excellent, excellent. New gear and weapon, the SA-58P, the SA-58V. I'll tell you what, I'm going to read the text version because I think that explains what these are. Features, AI vehicle driving. AI is able to drive all ground vehicles present in the game. On-road ability. There you go, brilliant. So AI are going to be wandering around, so that's going to be great for modders. Weapon deployment. Deploy your weapon for stabilization while prone. So bipods on weapons. Commanding. Command whole groups of AI by issuing basic commands. Move, search and destroy, follow and mount. AI units can join, unjoin the group dynamically. So what we're seeing is this is kind of core content that we have in Arma 3 and Arma 2 coming to Reforger, and hence will be coming to Arma 4. Health system. New medical items. Multiple hit zone self-bandaging. Better ragdolls. Interesting. Dynamically generated scenario. New playable solo or co-op scenario. Dynamic objects to complete, detailed compositions for the objectives. Now what's very interesting about this stuff is that you get this stuff in Arma 3 and Arma 2, but through mods you get these dynamic scenarios where you spawn in by yourself or with friends, but it's a mod, but they're building this into the game. But what they're really doing is they're building this into the structure of the modding for the game, so into the game engine, which means that it makes it so much easier for modders to be able to produce different variants on this. Game Master update. Introduction of a quick entity browser. Ability to save filter presets in entity browser. Impact with objects in the world. Doors, pianos, radios, and most importantly toilets. Placing crewed vehicles. Because, as we know, as they've just said, AI will be able to drive, so you want vehicles with stuff in them. Conflict update. Free-form building, partial services and fortifications can be built anywhere near the supply source. Advanced building interface. So at the moment, when you put some supplies into a kind of capture point, there's kind of those highlighted areas, isn't there, that you go to and you can build things. So you'll be able to build anything anywhere. Base seizing overhaul. Capture bases with the dominancy feature. In order to win the battle, the faction must seize and hold several strategic points. Semi-randomized starting points, HQ positions. That's interesting. So at the moment, you can sneak into a place, and as long as you get on the radio, you capture the. Actually, no, they're talking about bases, aren't they? So it's just, I wonder if they're talking about the main HQ bases. We'll have to find out. So kind of what happens at the moment is you can sneak into places, and then you can use the radio to take them over. But I guess what they're saying is we're not just going to have that. You're going to have more sort of friendly players on the flag, if you like, capturing. Services, barracks. Fixed number of AI defenders are spawned in the base. Decrease the price of the deploy ticket. Supply depot. In order to expand a base, the depot must be built up in order to store needed supplies. Fair enough. Antenna. Increase the basic signal of the radio. Contact distant bases. So maybe we'll see a lot more variety in the way that battles take place. You won't really have this kind of fairly predictable front line as forces move up and down the island, but you'll be able to kind of go behind enemy lines to capture bases that way. Supply management. Vehicles and deploy tickets cost supplies. Fight for the supply depots scattered on the island. Conflict on the new island of Ireland. Mines. Destroy vehicles with placeable explosives. Plant a mine or watch a vehicle explode from user action activation. So, remote mines, destructibles, tweaks to the destructible system to allow more props to be disruptible, a protractor tool in the map, assets, Ireland, gear and weapons, the SA-58P, the SA-58V. I'm going to show my ignorance, I don't know what they are. Let's search Google. Oh, it's a weapon. Fair enough. Fair enough. Props, medical assets, vehicles, ambulances, Soviet, US, and there's going to be animals. Woohoo! So there's quite a lot, as you can see in that. Then we have the second milestone, which is going to be called air assault now. So we're now going to be getting heavy machine guns, the NSV, flares, handheld and pistol, ballistic protection, so there's going to be the M1 helmet, we're getting a flak vest, the PASGT vest, which I guess is the Russian one, flight suit, rifle optics, bayonets, woohoo, suppressors, they're coming, the UH-1H and the MIL Mi-8 helicopters, so we're going to get official helicopters in Reforger, and the minibus. See, this is all incredibly exciting. Now, helicopters have already been modded into the game, but it shows you where they're going. You know, they're bringing all this stuff in. And what's really exciting for DayZ players is that maybe with cross-pollination of code between and the Enfusion engine on Reforger and Enfusion engine in DayZ, this could be helicopters, official helicopters coming to DayZ. Revive, unconscious state of character. Ability to revive characters. Ballistic protection. New ballistic vests that provide protection against bullets and shrapnel. Helmets provide protection. World interaction. Electricity. There'll be a full electrical network on the island. Buildings, transformers and lamps are connected to mains. A possibility to interrupt and repair the electricity distribution. Light in buildings. Multiple save slots for the playable content. Games master and conflict support by default. So finally, looks like we'll be able to save our game master setups. Helicopters. Standard helicopter flight model. 2 transport helicopter assets. Mounted machine guns. Controllable by players. Pilot gear. So suppressors, melee, game master update, placing artillery strikes, smoke shells and other effect. Linking waypoints with specific entities. Fuel system, possibility to refuel vehicles, fuel nozzles, improve fuel consumption of vehicles, fuel-related assets. Conflict update. The sources of supplies will be located mainly in the FIA warehouses. US and Soviet factions will need to fight for these resources. Supply runs are needed to deliver these resources. 2 types of supplies for ammunition and building purposes. Third milestone, final strike, mortars. So we're going to get mortars that we can use. That's going to be brilliant, isn't it? Tanker outfits, light machine gun, assault rifle, the M16A2 carbine, explosive charges, mines, civilian clothes, the LAV-25, the BRDM2. So I don't know what a LAV-25 is. What's a LAV-25? LAV-25. The BRDM2 is a armored car. Right, so the LAV-25, yeah, so here we go. So it's a US armoured vehicle with a big gun on it. That's what we want. Flatbed truck, Skoda S105, helicopter weapon system, building destruction, simple advanced system for building destruction, remote charges, dynamically generated scenario update, light artillery. Oh, wow. Game master update, sharing your save scenarios with others, placing artillery strikes, linking waypoints, free-form building, full. Bases won't have predefined places, forcing the opposing faction to locate the opponent's first bases first. Bases can be built anywhere on islands. The only limitation is the radio range and the number of supplies. Conflict HQ role. By default, it's an AI deciding on the strategy. HQ role defines the objectives for the faction. A player can take over this role and decide strategic decisions. AI units conduct the supply runs. So that's so cool. So you're going to have AI say, right, capture this base, and the AI will jump into trucks and drive supply that's there, so you can be part of the battle. Absolutely amazing. So yeah, very, very exciting. This helicopters, mortars, better AI. All looks very, very cool indeed. So as you can see, Arma Reforger, no matter where it is now, it's going somewhere. And it might take us quite a way to get there. But can you imagine when we get these things, when we get helicopters, you know, when we get the new vehicles, when we get the armoured vehicle with a gun on it for the American side. Very, very exciting indeed. Suppressors, all that sort of cool stuff. I'm really, really excited for this. Remember, you can get it on next-gen Xbox. Doesn't run that brilliant, but it runs okay. And obviously you can get it on PC. Okay, so that's enough from me. Hopefully you found this useful and exciting. And I will, of course, see you again soon.